So here, over 200 years ago, was the site of the deadliest avalanche to have ever occurred in the UK. We go all the way back to 1836, and you think it could be in the middle of Europe, it could be anywhere else in the world, but actually we're here in East Sussex at the site of the Lewes Avalanche that occurred at 10:15 a.m. on the 27th of December 1836. And as you can see behind me, we're at the site of Cliff Hill. The year is 1836 and the UK has been hit with severe weather conditions. And the day is Christmas Eve and it starts to snow. And no one suspects a thing. They just thought, it's nice to have a relief from all this rain that has been going on since October, and let's just enjoy the snow. As Christmas Eve continues and moves into Christmas Day, winds begin to pick up. And as at the time it's described as hurricane winds, resulted in a snowdrift gradually building up on top of the brow of Cliff Hill. This reached up to about 20 feet in height according to some of the sources of the time, linked in the description. And Christmas Day went through without a problem, and no one was none the wiser for what was possibly going to happen the next day. The next day comes around and it's Boxing Day, and a large amount of snow falls off the cliff and lands in a timber yard. No one is hurt, but this has concerned the landlord. Richard Higham, who was the landlord of Boulder Row, where the timber yard was located, along with the 7 houses that were going to be destroyed the next day. He realised that something major might happen, as it was quite clear that there was a large amount of snow building up on top of the hill. He issued a warning to everyone who was living there saying, move out, but no one listened. Everyone thought, White Christmas, bit of snow, no harm. Next day comes around. It's about 10 a.m. Sends out a second warning, almost trying to drag out 2 people out of their homes, warning them that something imminent is about to happen. 15 minutes later at 10:15, the big one happens. The UK has just experienced its deadliest avalanche ever. The whole of the snow from the top of the hill falls off and destroys 7 houses in the process. And we're not talking about just wooden houses, these are brick-built houses. So these would actually take a fair bit of force to completely wipe out, but it was no match for the power of the snow. 8 people died as a result. 7 people were pulled from Boulders Row, which was the cottages that used to line the road here, as they were trapped under the snow or killed by the building collapsing on top of them. The youngest was 11 and the oldest was 82. If only they had listened to the warnings, then something different might have happened. But no one would have ever been the wiser. You'd have never have thought it. You'd have always thought, it could be up in Wales, it could be all the way up in Scotland, and nothing has ever come close, fortunately. Now visiting the site today, there is a pub called the Snowdrop Inn that is on the location of Boulders Row, which is where the 7 houses used to be present. There is a memorial plaque at the South Mailing Church, just around the corner from it, that commemorates the 8 victims. This also had a wider impact on the community, as some of the more tragic aspects of the event was 3 mothers were killed and left a combined 28 children behind. Given the size of the community at the time, left a devastating impact that will always be remembered. And 200 years later, it is still remembered as the deadliest disaster caused by an avalanche in the UK. Thank you for watching, and next week we'll be looking at air raid shelters.